Gentlemen, our friend from Garden Savings Federal Credit Union, please give it up for Tom Quigley. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I don't think I need this. My name's Tom Quigley. I'm with Garden Savings Federal Credit Union. And with me today is my friend Carlos Ronquillo, who's our marketing manager. Thank you all for having us for a few minutes. I'm going to talk about credit scores. Has anybody here checked their credit score last year? We have a couple people. That's excellent. Normally, it's nobody. Checking your credit score is not just your right as an American. You get a free credit check every year. It's kind of your responsibility to yourself. You have to know what's going on. I have a couple of notes with me here that I got off the internet yesterday. I was reading a story, a lot of them bothered me, but one of them in particular. This guy, Fred Lau in Sussex County. He was an average guy, 50 years old. He had a mortgage, 2 car loans, a couple credit cards. He got annoyed with his bank, his big national bank, and went to a local regional bank. Everything was fine. For 2 years, he had his paycheck deposited, he paid his bills, no problem. He was never late with a payment, never made a partial payment. But one day, his tractor broke down, so he had to go out and buy a new one. So he said, I'm going to finance it and save some money. He got turned down for a $3,000 loan, and he was shocked. He's saying, how can I get turned down? His credit score was 600, even though he was never late and never, ever missed a payment. Here's the problem. When he opened up his new account at the new bank, the clerk just made a simple human mistake. Transposed 2 numbers of his social security number. Something that simple, and it went on for 2 years. He got his bills, he paid his bills, he paid his mortgage. It was just not caught until he reapplied again, and they entered all of that information over again, and they said, wait a minute, here's a problem. So it can happen. This guy's right in Sussex County. It could happen to any of us. The CFPB suggests that on their website, 65% of everybody in America has at least one error on their credit score. 65%. Of those 65, 90% go unchecked. People just don't check their credit history. So it's free to check your credit history. It's very easy to do. You have to do it online, but freeannualreport.com. That's all it takes. You go there. I just did it again yesterday, so I was familiar with it. They ask you some personal questions like your social security number, your address, some basic stuff to verify that it's you, and your credit score pops up in a minute. Mine was pretty much what I expected it to be. The beauty is, it checks all 3 credit companies. There's 3 credit companies in America: TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. So, freeannualcreditscore.com, they check all 3. If there's a problem, you know about it. And there are problems all the time. Checking your credit, it's your responsibility, and it's easy to do. But when you go to things like senior housing, you're going to senior housing, if you need a new car, I mean, there's so many things that they check your credit score on to make sure that you're a good candidate. If you're younger and you're going for a job, they check your credit score. Because if you can't manage your own money, how are you going to manage the company's money? So your credit score is history. But when I was a kid, you used to talk about your permanent record. This is it. It's your permanent record. Your parents can't make it better. Your kids can't make it better. It's up to you. I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan. And his band is called Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reefer Band. He's worth $750 million today. The only reason why it's Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reefer Band is because when he was 18, he had decent credit. He could get the guitars, the lights, the fog machines, all the stuff that he needed for his first show, and nobody else in his band had credit. So he said, all right, but we're going to call it my band. And look what happened to him. Works out. And that's at a young age. So your credit score it's important, it's very important, but it's up to you to check it. And again, it's very easy, it's very safe, it's very secure. And if you have things in your credit, you can fix them. And if you have bad credit, you can fix them. So you get a number. The number goes from 300 to 850. My little sister, she's 60. Yeah. My little sister has 850 credit, and she is fierce about how she guards it. She gets a bill, she pays it that day, she calls to make sure the bill is received. I mean, it's scary, but she has 850 credit. And once you get there, you don't want to be knocked down for any reason. She's just protective of it. Credit really is a funny thing, because nobody really tells you how it works. My own daughter, who, by the way, graduated college with a degree in finance. I'm gonna let that set in for a second. A degree in finance. When she got her first job, she decided to get a car loan. She wanted to do it on her own. She didn't want to go through my credit union. I get that. We respect her for it. So her payment was around $400 a month. She got paid twice a month. So she sent in $200 out of this paycheck. 2 weeks later, she sent in the other $200 out of this paycheck. The problem is, she missed the payment. And after 4 months, they repossessed her car. And she was beside herself. She had money in the bank. She had been making her payments. But the computer doesn't know all that. The computer just knows she missed her payment. The money she was sending in went to her principal. It didn't go to her payment. So it's bad. Her credit took a huge hit. It was repossessed. So, I mean, that's a black mark, really. I mean, her credit score went from, I think it was around 715, 720, down to 580. So, and she was a young girl. I mean, she's starting a new job, so if she applies for another job or an apartment, her credit score is going to matter. The bank did the right thing. They made good on her, but the damage was done. You know, they took things off her credit score as only they can. Nobody else could do it except for the person who puts it there. So they did the right thing, but it still took like 8 months to get it where it should be. So it affects everybody. Your credit score affects everybody. If you have bad credit, not the end of the world. You can fix it, but you have to be patient. But you don't know it's bad until you check it. So I implore all of you to check your credit score, find out what it is, and the information is so readily available today. I mean, the CFPB is the federal government, the Consumer Financial Protection Board. They're great. You know, I actually hate them because I work for a credit union. We're not for profit. We're regulated by the National Credit Administration, and the CFPB is above them. So we get laws or rules that go against each other. It makes it difficult for us. But they're great. They help. Their only job is to help consumers with credit, with these horror stories, like that story I told you about that guy in Sussex County. All those things can be fixed. And if you call the CFPB, they'll help you with that. The federal government is very good that way. But really, it's all going to fall on you. You have to find the problem, and you have to address it first. You have to build your case. So you get your credit score, and it's several pages. When I got my credit score just yesterday, there were things on there from, I'm going to say the 1990s, 1980s, that were not me. They just were not me. But, wouldn't you know it, I knew the person that they were. When I went to high school, and I graduated in 1977, that was a long time ago, there were 4 Tom Quigleys in my school. Seaport High School in Wayne, New Jersey. 4. None of us were related. 3 of us were pretty good guys, never got in trouble. But there was that one guy. He got us all in trouble. But I'm looking at my credit score, and I'm looking at this thing that it was a charge for merchandise I never had. It showed late payments, but it showed where the address was, and I recognized the address as his from high school. It was his parents' house. So, I mean, it doesn't affect me now, but it's still there. And I don't know why I never called before. I check my credit score constantly. But, my credit score was about like 20 pages. I probably just got tired of reading it. So when I saw the problem, I just sent a simple email to the credit card company. I said, this is a mistake on my credit report. It's not me. Please correct it. And they have like 2 weeks to either acknowledge my email or make the correction. If they don't, it comes off. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to come off because they don't care about something from the 1980s. They don't care. So they're going to take it off, but only they could do it. And if they're out of business now, if it was a store that was out of business, well then I'm out of luck. It's my own fault for not catching it sooner. But there's things on everybody's credit report, everybody. So check your own and be vigilant about it. Because when you want to go into senior housing, or if you need a new car, or whatever comes up, you gotta loan your kids money, whatever it comes up, they're gonna check your credit score. And you don't want to be surprised, because that's the kind of crappy feeling. But But like I said earlier, it's very easy to improve your credit. The things you have to watch out for are things like credit cards versus loans. You have to say to yourself, do you want to take out a credit card, which is a revolving credit, pay it off, use it again, pay it off, use it again. But it affects your credit score because now you have more credit. My point is that sometimes a loan is better because a loan is a start and it's a finish. It's a finite time period. You have a bunch of debt, you want to pay it off. Take out a personal loan, take out a home equity loan, debt consolidation loan, pay it all off. That does a couple of things for you. Your credit score is measured by the amount of credit that you have and what you use. So let's say all your credit cards, all your credit cards put together, your car loans, say it's up to $15,000, and you're using $10,000. That's 2/3. That's 60%. That's going to hurt your credit. Even though you're not maxed out, you have to be at 1/3. 30% of your credit is what the credit score people think is fair for you to use. So if you take out a loan, pay off your credit, all your credit cards, you are taking on more credit, which is bad. But your 30% or your 60% just fell down because you're paying everything off again. I know it's very confusing and sometimes it doesn't make sense, but your available credit went up, so you're not using your credit, so your credit score goes up. It is so convoluted and so difficult, some of these things, how they do it, but they still do it. I mean, your credit score is your credit score. So as bad as it sounds, I'm asking each of you to still check yours. Hope you don't mind me using my little cheat sheet here. Another example of credit that I found yesterday, this is awesome. Good credit versus bad credit. If you have good credit, you get a car loan for around 6%. If you have bad credit, it could start at 15 and go to 40. But the average for people with D, there's 5 grades of credit. A, B, which are very good. C, which is good but average. D and E, which are bad credit or troubling, let's put it that way. The average score, according to the CFPB, the average credit score for people with D and E paper is 26% for a car loan. So what that means is if you bought a $20,000 car with 26% interest for 5 years versus a $20,000 car at 6% for 5 years, you end up paying almost $16,000 more for a $20,000 car. That's how much more interest you're going to pay. It's a terrible system, but it's the only system we have. That's how much credit affects you. So your payment, it's $230 a month difference, a month. So you have to protect your credit. If you have bad credit, or if you buy a car and they say the best they can do for your credit score is 13%, say, hold on, let me get back to you. And then go check your credit score. You can check your credit score instantly. Another one that I came across, which was one that I've used in the past. I teach a high school class once a semester to high school seniors. Kids today, I'm speaking mostly of my kids, I guess, they want everything right away. They want it now, they want the best, that's it. A new iPad is $2,000. If you are a kid like my daughter's age and you charge your first iPad, it's 24% interest versus 8% interest. That iPad is going to end up costing you, a $2,000 iPad is going to end up costing you $7,000 if you just make the minimum payment. That's just another trick that credit companies do, not credit scores, but credit companies. If you have bad credit, say you're a D or E paper, your minimum payment on your credit card is 1% of your balance. You're thinking, oh, that's nice. They make the payment affordable. No, they're screwing you in the long run. If you have good credit, it's 2 or 3%. The point is to pay it off, not to stretch it out longer. Debt is not your friend. You want to get any credit that you have, pay it off, and focus on it. The iPad is a great example. Everybody wants an iPad, but who's going to keep an iPad for 11 years? They don't last that long. That's how long it takes to pay off if you make the minimum payments, 11 years. So for your credit, always make more than the minimum payment, always. Even if it's $10, make more than the minimum payment. Make your payments on time, don't be late. Try not to use more than 30% of your total available credit in this big scope, if you can. And you need a mix of credit. So it's good to have a car loan, or a mortgage, or a credit card. A mix is good. If you have just credit cards, that's not good, because it doesn't show you can handle the big things like a home or a car. So you have to have a mix of credit, and don't have too many inquiries. If you check your credit online by yourself, that does not affect your credit score. If you get something in the mail that says you're pre-approved for a new car at 8% interest, that doesn't really affect your credit score. That's called a soft pull. So the banks and the credit unions, we can run your credit if we do everybody, if we do a mass thing, and it doesn't affect anybody's credit score. But if you go to Sears and they say, hey, get our Sears card and get 10% off your purchase today, you say, okay. And then you go to Lowe's, and they say the same thing. Too many credit inquiries sinks your credit. There's so many things that bring your credit down, and it's so hard to bring it back up. It can be done though. You can bring it back up. You just have to be patient, and you have to be thorough, and you have to be efficient. And these are the things that you have to do. I mean, your credit score is important to you. It's, like I say, it's your permanent record. But don't ever give up on it, because if you give up, there's nobody else. I mean, it's your credit, you know? I think we're in pretty good shape. I just want to tell you about one more story here. Oh, this woman, Linda White, she had horrible credit. Her credit was so bad that it was more than she was making at her job. So she went to a finance company and took out what's called a payday loan. Payday loans are $200, $300, $400, and you're supposed to pay them back in full at your next payday. So really, it's a 2-week loan. This woman ended up taking out 3 of these loans, and instead of paying, and she took them out for $500 each, instead of paying back the $500 for one of them and get rid of it, she didn't. For all 3 loans, she paid $200 and $250 to get the next paycheck. When that paycheck came, she paid $200 to carry it. She kept extending it. She extended it for 7 years. She never paid it off. She ended up paying $17,000 in interest, and she still owed the original $1,500. So that's I mean, most people don't go to payday loans. Really, it's an inner city problem. We're trying to put an end to payday loans, quite honestly. It's not fair. That kind of interest, I mean, interest is 400%. 400% of what you borrow for 2 weeks. It's not right, it's not fair. But that's just an example of how things can spiral out of control. This woman was just trying to make ends meet. She couldn't, so she just paid just the service fees to hold it over. And she paid all that money and still owed the original balance. It's heartbreaking. These stories are heartbreaking. So just beware, be careful, go for help, go to any credit union will help you. Probably any bank will help you too, quite honestly. I'm not a fan of banks, obviously. But they'll help you. If you have a credit problem, if you're not sure, go to a bank or go to a credit union, and I guarantee you they'll help you. We at Garden Savings, we have certified financial counselors in every branch. And we have branches in Newark, South Orange, Dover. We want people to come in, and we want to help them. We want to get them a plan to go forward, to live a better life. It's all about how you live. So just keep that in mind if you find yourself in trouble or if you're not sure what to do. Does anybody have any questions?
Can you give us the difference between the FICO score and the credit score, or is it one and the same?
Great question. The difference between a FICO score and a credit score. The credit score is a FICO score. FICO came out, that's called Fair Isaac's company, FICO. They came out with this in the late 70s, early 80s. It's an algorithm that they're the ones that put all those crazy rules in there about how much credit you can have and use. Your FICO score is like the 3 credit agencies I mentioned earlier, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. It takes that and it gives you a number. And that's the number I mentioned is between 300 and 850. Your FICO score is your credit score. I mean, it's something you should know. Discovery credit cards, they give it to you every time you go online to pay your bill. You can click a button. Navy Federal Credit Union, click a button to get your credit score. That's a FICO score. So that's a great question. You have other questions? That's all I have to answer.
Let's say you have a 20 or 30-year loan or whatever it may be. And you said it's a good idea to make the prepayments as much as possible every time you get a chance, right?
I do.
The first 10 or 15 years often have the highest amount of interest, right?
Correct again.
Okay, so when you send the prepayments in, shouldn't you earmark them for principal payment only?
You should.
Because otherwise, they're just going to pay off some future month, which is 90% interest.
That is a great point. And what he is saying, and you're spot on. If you, like my daughter did, she just sent the payment in, she didn't specify where it should go to. But what happens with real estate loans, that you can prepay the balance. And remember this, time is the enemy, not the rate. If you have a 30-year mortgage and you could make it, and you could refinance it to a 20-year mortgage, you're gonna save $100,000. I mean, it's serious money. But when you send it in your payment, that's one thing. Your payment goes to your payment book, and that's got to be on time. But if you send in an extra $100, an extra $50, you have to write down, please apply to the principal. And they have no choice but to apply to the principal. Otherwise, they put it towards the next payment. And on a real estate loan, which is different than a car, you could be 4 payments ahead. They don't care. They don't care. You're still paying all that interest. You know, the bank is not doing you a favor. You're getting ahead on your payments. You don't even know you're ahead on your payments, but the money should be going to your principal. That was an excellent question. Very smart. Thank you. Ma'am?
My bank is on my phone, and every time I check my statement, they give me my credit score automatically. Is this so many inquiries, and would that affect?
No, that's a great question about when she goes online and check her balances and such, she sees her credit score right there. They're doing you a service, honestly. They're making you aware of it. So if you see a fluctuation in it, you gotta say to yourself, oh, it went down 30 points. Did I buy something big? You know, it makes you aware. They're doing you a service. That's a good thing to do. But that is not too many credit inquiries. That's the soft credit injury that I mentioned earlier. And that's all because the CFPB allows that now. I'm telling you right now, 15 years ago, that would have hurt your credit score. But now it's accepted. So they're doing you a service. Notice it. If you see a fluctuation, a change, question it. Always question it. Sir?
When you started this to say that everyone should do a credit check, if you take your computer and go online and look for a credit check, you find pages and pages of people claiming that they're the ones that use it. Who do you use that you know? Because the first thing they want is your social security number, they want your date of birth, they want your mother's maiden name. You're absolutely right. That is a brilliant question. And I saw that yesterday. I mean, I know the website is free, annualcreditscore.com. That's the website. But if you punch in anything, if you go to Google and punch in federal government credit check, federal government credit score, you put federal government in it, when the website comes back to you, it's .gov, G-O-V. Nobody can use that but the government. That's a pretty safe bet to use. And they'll direct you on where to go. CFPB, creditunions.gov, freecreditscore.gov, and freecreditscore.com is listed under the federal government. That's why I used, and it was really, they do ask a lot of questions. If you see on Google it says sponsored, 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 those are ads. Skip them. Go right down. The same one below takes you avoid all those ads. It's a little confusing, but really, your credit union can probably help you out with that. Your bank could help you out with that. But anything that says .gov is a pretty safe bet, quite honestly.
Do you have these websites listed on your literature, or?
I do not, but I will be sending an email to Mike later on when I get back today, and I'm sure he can send it out to you on his website. It is on our website. It is on Garden Savings.
Thank you.
But it's our pleasure.
Take one more, Tom.
Oh, sorry, man. Shoot.
All of a sudden, I'd say the past couple of weeks, I've been getting things saying, oh, Marcia, your credit score is so good now. And go online and you see what it is. And needless to say, I've been deleting a lot of stuff. But I don't know where all of a sudden this came from.
That's a great question. Getting a lot of emails about how good your credit is all of a sudden, and you should click here. That's a great question. I see it myself. I get it myself. I don't click on anything.
No.
Here's what phishing is. They send you something, and they say, hey, you qualified for this. Click here. It's the click here that's the problem. So if you want to know something about your bank, if you want to know about your credit score, if you want to know about something that you saw for sale on Amazon, you punch in Amazon.com. So you know you're there. You punch in annualcreditreport.com. So you did it. If you click, you might end up at freecreditscore1.com. It looks exactly the same. They make it look similar. You think you're in the right spot, but they're thieves and they're crooks and they're phishing you. That is a brilliant question, but you have to be careful. You really do. I'm afraid my time is up today, but I'm going to be here when you're done. Thank you very much for your time. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for everything.